Gain a bit of time on the road as well to emerge in the lead. It looked as if it hadn't worked through no fault of Prost, because there was a problem with the left rear wheel, and incidentally that's not necessarily a fault of the team. They have tremendous heat around those hubs, and metals, different materials expand at different rates, and sometimes, no matter how carefully you design and make wheels, they get jammed on. But as it was lucky for the big gaggle of cars goes through.
And it's Andrea De Cesaris who's just gone up to 9th place ahead of Modena, 10th in 11th position. You can see that it is the Minardi of Pierluigi Martini, and he's got Nakajima close up behind him, dropping back a bit there. But De Cesaris in the Dallara with his teammate Cathy out of the race is now up into 9th position. Modena 10th, Martini in 11th place. Eddie Chiva is charging as well behind this batch. And it's very, very close with these 4 DFR powered cars and the Java powered car of Modena. That's Alesi popping out of the slipstream, number 4. We're on lap 26. Prost leading Senna now by 3.5 seconds. The gap closing slightly because Senna has been taking about 0.2 of a second out, and there is Nakajima bobbing about, the Japanese driver, coming up to try and take Alesi, goes through on the inside as they enter the stadium, and Satoru Nakajima goes up into 11th position. So it's 9th De Cesaris, 10th Modena, 11th Nakajima, and in 12th position there is the Tyrrell, followed by Eddie Chiva. Now out of the right-hander into the stadium, 3rd gear, up into 4th, 5th and 6th. They're doing about 150 miles an hour as they go over the start line, out of the stadium, into the first of the...
So here is Jean Alesi, as John says, just loves to qualify, throwing the car around.
Well, this certainly is not a qualifying lap that he's finishing, but now I think he certainly will start a lap. And of course Alesi just throws this little Tyrrell Ford around, and of course the car is such a manoeuvrable car, such an easy package to drive, and Jean Alesi just grabs it by the scruff of the neck, chucks it into the corner, and that was really what caused the spin we watched this morning on the monitor. He came in really so quick to a section of circuit, he was just too quick for that part of the track, and really had no option. The car just got away from him, and he put the brakes on, dipped the clutch, and luckily he only just kissed one of these. Just at this point here, he came round here just too quick. The car went into a spin, and he backed it into the tire wall just to the left of that curb.
Yes, no damage done, but he lost the motor and couldn't restart, not allowed to restart in fact. And just up the curb there, always see these pictures of this Tyrrell with that big anhedral wing throwing off the sparks. Exciting stuff. Jean Alesi, maximum attack.
And he's so late in the brakes. The Tyrrell Ford has probably got the best brakes of any Grand Prix car here this weekend, and Alesi certainly knows how to brake late. And again, it's all part of this atmosphere that he generates about his driving. He's so enthusiastic, I say, particularly on this qualifying tire. He loves to drive the car on that limit, not so interested in setting the car up for the race. He really relies on the team's experience and knowledge to do that. Well, he's not. He's doing a 21.6, so maybe Alesi is not running qualifying tires. He's done 2 laps.
Of course, that for every 1 clear lap that any driver does, he has to go out for a lap and then come in for a lap. So to do 1 quick lap, he's got 2 slow laps. And when there's a lot of traffic around, the chaps on the slow laps get in the way of the few who are on the quick laps, and that's where the problems arise for the men trying to do a quick time.
This is Jean Alesi, who started this session in 6th position, has been displaced by Roberto Moreno. Alesi's target time for pole position is 1 minute 22.644 seconds. Watch the readout on your screens as the Frenchman goes into the new Beckett's complex. The left, right, then down to Stowe Corner. Gerhard Berger, who has had so much bad luck this year, he's only finished twice in 7 Grand Prix, studying the facts. And Alesi is studying the circuit very carefully indeed. Let me tell you this, that if anybody goes underneath that bridge in about 60 seconds, it's a good time. And that was exactly what Jean Alesi did. The fastest time that he's had so far, 1 minute 24.520. And it looks to me as though he's certainly going to beat that and move up on the grid. He does so. Jean Alesi moves up to third position on the starting grid for tomorrow.
Camera pictures will come from the little Frenchman and his Ferrari.
Well, it's not just from inboard they'll be spectacular, they'll be spectacular all around the circuit. And Jean Alesi, we know, is so very quick from the lights red to green. And of course, again, back in 1990, the man was electric. We had two starts in Monaco because of an incident down in the Mirabeau, partly involving Jean Alesi. Remember when Alain Prost got involved just coming down to this part of the circuit. Alesi dived down the inside and confusion reigned, cars stopped blocking the track. We had a restart and Jean Alesi went on to finish second in a truly remarkable drive from somebody of sort of little experience at that time. Well, Jean Alesi's done a lot, right over the curbs. Has done a lot of growing up since 1990. And now in 92 at Ferrari, unquestionably the number one driver in that team. And pushing very, very hard to try and get this current, looking for a space down the inside. Well, that's not the place to do it. Certainly not that far back.
Well, it's interesting this picture, John, because Michele Alboreto right in front of Jean Alesi is just as quick, if not maybe a little quicker than Jean, and he's not going to get out of the way. And Alesi is quicker than the fastest time so far, which is held by Mika Häkkinen, a 1:29.973, a full 10 seconds slower than pole position time. Of course, times will be slower.
And just look at Alesi's hands; they're all over. They look up opposite locking it, coming through that little kink, coming onto the start-finish straight.
Into the pits, so now Alain Prost leads the Grand Prix because Jean Alesi and Mika Häkkinen have gone into the pits. Who has got the best? Oh, Alesi, there's a problem with Jean Alesi. Problem with Jean Alesi. What's happened?
Well, he put his hands up. He's rotated his hand 4.85 seconds. Well, that was for the McLaren stop of Mika Häkkinen. And look at that shower of sparks as Alesi and Häkkinen rejoin the race. Now Häkkinen is going to push very, very hard, looking for a way. Inside, outside, he's going to dive down the inside. I'm sure they come down to the third gear. Look at this. Well, battle between the men. Drop back. And this is so dangerous for both men, not because they're going to bump into each other, but because they're on fresh tyres. And we've seen what happened on fresh tyres.
I don't think Jean Alesi is on fresh tyres. He never changed them. They put the car up in the air and put it down again, and he went off again. Jean Alesi did not get new tyres.
I'm going to have to wait and watch the replay because the camera went off. Alesi's pit onto McLaren pits. And we saw that 4.85 second stop from Mika
Jean
Häkkinen.
Alesi, as ever, running very close to the edge there. And he is starting his first flying lap, which is in actual fact his seventh.
Alesi, so late on the brakes into that first chicane, turns the car in, throws it back the other way. That familiar, very high handheld position on the steering wheel, reminiscent of Alain Prost. In fact, I don't know whether to call Alesi an Italian here at Monza or a Frenchman here at Monza. He is, of course, born in Sicily, but he's brought up in Avignon. But I think for this weekend, he is Italian.
Well, whatever he is, John, he's quicker than on his best ever lap so far this afternoon. 0.2 of a second. Did he run wide or was it all right? Coming out of that new Lesmo corner, the second Lesmo, onto the Variante Ascari. Very quick, left, right, left, and then the second split time. Let's see what it is. He'll probably run over the curbs, and the clock stopped half a second quicker. So that should be a 23, and the crowd already goes mad.
I'm not surprised, and Alesi exited onto this final straight into Parabolica perfectly. Now it's the drive all the way around, and look, the long, long exit to Parabolica, right at the very edge of the track. Now picking up speed, 332 kilometers per hour across the start-finish line. 1:23.844, over a tenth of a second quicker this morning.
Championship. He's racing in Japan at the moment. He actually leads the Formula Nippon Series, as it's called in Japan. It's effectively their Formula 3000 Championship. And Ralf Schumacher, who's completed a fair bit of testing for McLaren Mercedes, a couple of days last week again at Silverstone. So obviously another talented young driver with a future in Formula 1. But we're watching Jean Alesi at the moment, and Alesi, who set the second fastest time this morning. The two Benetton Renaults, as we mentioned, looking very, very strong. He has had pole position here in the past. That was in 1994 for Ferrari. It was an all-Ferrari front row on that occasion. He led the race only to suffer gearbox problems in one of his early pit stops.
Well, again, an example of irrepressible Alesi, so hard and late on the brakes. You could see the car moving around. Now, as he came across the start-finish line, he recorded once again the quickest time of anybody in the 1 hour that we had this morning and the few minutes of this afternoon. So Alesi clearly charging and wants to be not just quickest in this session, he wants to end up being quickest in everything and being race winner and fastest race lap. And if he does that, he will actually break the lap record between Monza and his home, wherever it happens to be. The record he established in 94 when he was so appalled by the situation when his Ferrari broke when he was leading. He gave his brother the most hairy ride back. His brother, I think he kept his head down and his eyes closed for the entire duration. So for Alesi, let's see whether he can find time. He certainly had the quickest second speed in that second segment, 328 kilometers per hour, and Alesi has done what he set out to do in this lap, go quickest.
Parler de phénomène de hasard heureux, puisque évidemment l'équipe Sauber, l'équipe suisse de Peter Sauber, attendait elle aussi, j'allais dire, ce moment de vérité sur ce circuit ici au Brésil, parce que Melbourne est tellement typique, Melbourne est tellement lisse, Melbourne est tellement un circuit d'enchaînement rapide. Là on peut dire que c'est un circuit complet, et le paradoxe de la journée d'hier peut-être, c'est qu'avec un moteur anciennement Ferrari baptisé Petronas, eh bien Johnny Herbert se soit retrouvé devant Michael Schumacher.
C'est une bonne nouvelle pour eux, effectivement. Sur l'ensemble du championnat, il faut avoir une auto qui soit d'entrée de jeu bien équilibrée, que l'on dit bien née, et une auto aussi qui soit efficace sur trois types de circuits. Il faut qu'elle soit efficace dans le secteur freinage, c'est très très important. Changement de direction, c'est fréquent maintenant, avec les nombreuses entre guillemets chicanes qui fleurissent sur les circuits. Donc une moto qui réagisse bien au changement de direction, entrée et puis ensuite transfert de masse pour repartir dans l'autre virage. Et puis des voitures qui aient une bonne motricité, un bon moteur, et sur différents types de circuits urbains, circuits grande vitesse et circuits moyenne vitesse. Moyenne vitesse c'était Melbourne, ici c'est plutôt haute vitesse.
Tja, Johnny Herbert ist dann nämlich hinter den ersten 6. Hier sehen Sie das. Da muss Alesi jetzt natürlich eine ähnliche Zeit fahren, denn das, was Herbert kann, kann er auch. Halbe Sekunde. Johnny Herberts Rückstand ist 1,2 absolut. Sieht gut aus. Somit Platz 5 for Herbert.
Right up with Alesi, who still resists him. Now, Alesi hasn't had the best of seasons in 1999. He's failed to finish 5 times out of the 6 races we've already had. He got 1 World Championship point at the San Marino Grand Prix. We're with him now. And hopefully, the producer will stay with Alesi, and we'll be able to see whether Mika Häkkinen tries a late braking move yet again. No, Alesi's got him ticked.
Alesi quite slow on the apex of Adelaide every time, but he's certainly braking late. Always was a good late braker, Jean Alesi. And interestingly, actually 500ths of a second faster on the previous lap than Mika Häkkinen. So Alesi driving a stormer, quicker than Barrichello, who's currently leading.
And a great tribute not only to him and the car, but to that Ferrari engine, because it's a last year's Ferrari engine. labelled as a Petronas engine, which is Alesi's and the Sauber team's Malaysian sponsor.
Getting a bit dark out there, Murray. Look, people getting their plastic mats out in the grandstands. They've got a better feel for the weather than we have inside this commentary box, but certainly getting very dark overhead.
Alesi, Hakkinen, just behind them is the... Hakkinen won't get through there. That's where Villeneuve tried...